Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. All right, let's try to make this quick. I'm going to point out the some of the majors, and then we'll talk about some of the regular stocks that might be important to you. All right, so hopefully I hit them. If not, then um, make a you know comment on what you might like to see or what you might like me to discuss, and then we'll pick that up on a later date. But I'll try to hopefully hit some of the ones that you're interested in. All right, so first up is Bitcoin, and of course, Bitcoin over the weekend was showing some weakness, was pushing down. Last night, pushed down to about 95,000, and now it's trying to push up to retest this resistance area at 97. So I still showing weakness in Bitcoin. We're still showing we're in this channel heading downward, and our moving averages are acting as resistance at the moment. We still are in an up market, and we still have this window open down here. So as long as we can stay above our 150 and 200s, we should be still okay in Bitcoin as far as being bullish. But currently, signs of weakness in selling are in Bitcoin also. So just kind of keep an eye on it. Um, right now, it's still a buy the dip situation, but of course, we are heading downwards in an upwards market. All right, next up is and there's Bitcoin again. In the pre-market, it dropped off to about 95,000. So we'll see what happens when the market opens. Next up is oil, and oil continues to sell off. We got this doji here, um, and resistance here at $71. Currently in the pre-market, it's at about $71 and selling. So careful with oil when it opens. It looks like it's going to open up above or below this resistance area. So we're going to continue to sell off in oil, and oil is confirmed down market, so seller's market. All right, next up is gold, and gold put in a little pause here at about 2,968. We got a little pause here. So we have to wait and see what happens with gold. Uh, Figure out where it's going to find some support at, and then we can decide if we're heading higher again. But currently it's still bullish, still sitting above the 8 and 9 SMA. Still got the 20 coming up, nice spacing between the 20 and the 8 and 9 SMAs. So look for some support down in here. I figure around in here at around 2,873 on gold, and then another retest of this high of 29. Alright, this bar right here is not a bad looking bar. So let's see how we open up and if we continue to push higher. Currently in the pre-market, looks like we want to continue higher to retest this up here. Alright, so that's what we got for gold. Next up is natural gas, and natural gas has found its footing down here at around $3.15, and it pushed up, not running into this resistance area again that was previous resistance. And so keep an eye on that. Okay, it's reacting to this area here at $3.93, and that's natural gas. Next up is the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ continues to push higher, going back to retest this high up here at it's like about 22,240 or so, 22,450. All right. So we get a retest of that high and see what happens here. We pull back to find some support and retest again up here, and it's going to blow through it. But currently, the NASDAQ is in a bullish market. and looks like whatever this window is that it opened, it closed a few times, so that's no longer a concern there. Although it is an area of attraction, it's not a major concern at the moment. So we'll take that out and use these areas as our range. Alright, well, we want to get up above this area here, find some support, and continue higher on the NASDAQ. Currently NASDAQ is bullish. Next up is silver, and silver is putting this pin bar here and this hammer at a resistance area. So it had this green bar, it had got rejected in this area as well, but it got caught by our moving averages. So we need to see what happens with this one when it opens up, when the market opens at 6:30, 9:30 Eastern, and see if it wants to continue to sell off. Currently it's below this support or resistance area, because it hasn't been support yet. It's still a resistance area, so we'll see what happens when it opens. If it continues down, to look for some support down in here and gather its troops to go back and attempt to get through that wall again. Alright, next up is the Dow, and the Dow is looking bullish still. Got this window area here, or this area of attraction that keeps pulling it through it, but then it also has this resistance area here. So we know we got support down in here somewhere, so we need to get back up and try to get through this resistance area here on the Dow. Currently bullish in the market. MACD looks like it crossed over under, and we'll have to see what happens when the market opens on this one. It looks like it's clearly going to push higher and retest this high. So once we get through here, find some support, we can continue higher. But the Dow is still bullish. Next up is corn. Corn is still bullish, pushing up through our resistance area here. So we can get a close above this and find some support. It's off to the races in corn, and we should continue higher. That's corn futures, of course. Alright, next up is Apple. And those were our majors. So we look like we're positive in the majors, except for Bitcoin still looks weak and possibly going to sell off this morning even further than it did on this weekend. And looking at, let's take a look at, alright, so Apple found a support, closed that window, came back down, gapped down a little bit, but it was okay because we went back up and closed the window, that window that opened. So currently it's retesting this rejection area at $248. So look to see what happens here at 248. We already got a nice 4 bar push, so I expect to hit this, turn red, and then get a couple reds back in here, find some support, and then maybe push through. Alright, so be careful with Apple this week. If it does have enough to blow through here, it ain't going to get back up through here, so keep an eye on that. But it might be a good another bar or two play in here. We'll see what happens. Currently in the pre-market, looks like it's going to open up lower than our 245.57 area. Alright, so it looks like we're going to open up down in here somewhere, which kind of gives me an indication that we're going to get that red bar and maybe another red bar for support, and then the retest of this high up here. But we'll see what happens with Apple. Next up, we're going to do AMD. And AMD may have found a bottom, and if that is the case, then we're going to retest this area here for resistance. We need to get through that and find some support in here, and this may not exactly be our bottom line there. What would I do with it? Yeah, we'll worry about it later. Anyway, AMD is definitely in a down market, seller's market. It looks like it's running to some resistance. Put in 2 dojis in a row here, so there's some indecision going on whether or not they're going to continue higher or lower. So keep an eye on AMD. Currently, it's going to open up below this bar here, so there's going to be some resistance in this area. If it ain't got enough to close above it, then look out for the sell and the continue down market for AMD. Next up is Amazon, and Amazon continues to show some weakness, and set to open up below 229.54. So it's going to open up below our doji here, which is an indication that it wants to continue to head lower. So keep an eye on Amazon at the open. If it opens up below this red doji here, most likely we're going to continue to head lower. And we got our moving averages rolling over to act as resistance as well. And our MACD is giving us signs that we're going to continue to head lower also. Now we do have our 150 and 200s coming up to act as support, but they're way down here at around $200. So be careful with Amazon. Looks like it's going to be a seller for a little bit until we get some support to retest. And currently our support areas is right in here, it would appear. Alright, that's where we got some footing before heading going back up. We did have this little window open here, so that too can be an area of attraction for our trade to come back down and make sure that window's closed. So we may be heading back down to $200 on Amazon. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one, but we can play the down market on Amazon. Just be careful, because Amazon is the ATR on Amazon is $2.84, so it'll move $3 on you real quick. So make sure when you're buying high and selling low. And if you're playing the downside, if you're playing the upside, buy low and sell high. All right, next up is let's see, what do we want to do next? Coinbase. Let's look at Coinbase. Coinbase looks like it wants to sell. They actually had a good earnings for what I understand, but it's currently looking like it's been in a seller's market here. Let's take a broader view. And yeah, we got some windows open down here. Had a window open here that it reconciled already, but it still has this big window down here that it needs to close before going off and enjoying his vacation. So it looks like they're probably heading back home on Coinbase to shut this window, and then they probably head back out on their vacation or wherever the heck they're going. We'll see as time flies, but currently it looks like it wants to open up down here below where the close bar is. So definitely got some selling and pressure in here. We'll see how it reacts at the market open. We may get a little push up and then a sell into the afternoon. Alright, so that's Coinbase. I don't know if we have any Jerome Powell coming on to say anything. As long as he be quiet, we should have a decent day of trading, but we'll see what happens with that guy. Next up, let's talk about corn, since we know the major is going higher. We got some support here at $20.18. No signs of any reason to come backwards, so corn looks like a buy currently. So you can continue to trade that to the upside on corn. We got Corsair, which is put in that nice big bar, but now it looks like it's running into some trouble up here at $12.60. So we'll have to see what happens with that one here. But we got a new recent high, which is nice to see. So we'll see how that continues into the future. Alright. Currently set to open up at around $12, down around here somewhere. We may come back down and retest the support area at about the 50 cent of that bar there. So as long as we can stay in between this bar and not come down and close down here anyway, we should be okay to continue higher on Corsair. Just a matter of timing on that one. So just take your time with it. Don't get all too excited, and should continue to be a good trade. Next up is Google, and Google's like Amazon showing some signs of weakness. Google also has this window open here at about 181 to 175, so about a $6 window. So we need to reconcile that window, which it looks like is what it's trying to do, come down. And then it has a window overhead open also, so that's a good sign, because we know that we got to go up, because we got to reconcile those windows, which means at some point we're going to head back up here to close that window. Okay, so just a matter of when. Are we going to close this window first and then head higher, or are we going to go up, close that window, and then come back down? So keep an eye on Google Alphabet. But currently, looks like it wants to come and shut this window before heading higher, which would make more sense. So, and we put in this doji here, so we open up lower than this doji, then we're probably going to head down right away. If we open up higher, we're going to go and retest this resistance area and then probably head down. Alright, so keep an eye on Google. Google looks like uptrending market, but sellers at the moment. And that's all I'm going to do this morning. From now, oh wait, let me touch on NVIDIA. Let's see what NVIDIA's got. NVIDIA's pushing higher. Nice green bars coming down through up here, coming up to retest this area here. So look for some resistance at around 141 into this 148 area. We still have this overhead where our recent high was. So keep an eye on NVIDIA. Currently it's pushing higher. MACD is looking good too. We got our crossover on MACD, so it looks like it wants to continue in this bullish nature and heading higher. Going to shut that window most likely, and then we'll see what happens from there. All right, but we should have a good support area at around 128. So if we do get a push up in here, hit some resistance, pull back, find some support in this area in here, and then continue higher to retest our most recent high in NVIDIA. All right. Next up, Palantir. Palantir continues to show strength. We had a doji on Friday, so be careful with Palantir and that doji. We may want to continue heading higher, but we know we got some resistance in this area here, so we'll have to see how it reacts up in here. If we get a big push up and then a sell off and come back down into here, we need to reconcile this window here. We also have a window down here we need to reconcile. So those are two things we have in the back of our minds with Palantir, but Palantir continues wanting to push higher, and it's still in the bullish market. So basically on Palantir, you're still buying the dip. All right, until it tells you not to. And currently it's saying buy me. All right, let's do Qualcomm. Qualcomm put in this nice little resistance area pullback, found some support in our moving averages. Now it's going back to retest this area of resistance. So we need to get a close above 176 in Qualcomm to continue our bullish nature. Although it was trying to head into a bear market, it fought against it, and now it's pushing back up and becoming bullish again. So keep an eye on Qualcomm. It's got a ATR of $4.38, so it can move $4.38 on you real quick. So don't just jump in and think you're going to be heading higher the whole time. Qualcomm has a history of selling off and then pushing higher, selling off and pushing higher. And this is out long term in Qualcomm, so that's how I know how it moves. I've been watching it, and so um, it definitely has thrown me off a few times. I'm like, oh no, it's selling off on me, and then of course since I'm long term and I'm not trying to get out, and then next thing I know it's back up to where it sold off from. So just keep an eye on that. Don't panic too quick with Qualcomm. If you do try to trade it, just know that it will move either direction on you, and then come back and fill that void that it left. All right, so that's Qualcomm. Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab is currently in the pre-market, showing some weakness. Maybe going to open up below our. Well, actually, it's going to open up above our support area here, which is a good sign. But we do have this overhead resistance here. So between $29 and $27.20 is what we're playing on Rocket Lab at the moment. So we have to see what happens once we open. We did push below these two, this support area a couple of times, but it wasn't enough to close below it. So the support area may be holding, just maybe in a long consolidation before trying to go higher again. So be careful with Rocket Lab. Currently, it can go either direction. And guess we can't go without talking about Chipotle, huh? All right, Chipotle currently going to open up a little bit higher, but it's still putting this sell bar here. So currently, it wants to open up down in here somewhere, the bottom half of this bar. So be careful when we get to open. We may get a little push up and then a sell off on Chipotle, but I don't see Chipotle breaking through this area here currently. I don't see the momentum or the volume coming in on Chipotle, so we'll see what happens with that. But currently Chipotle looks like a sell to me, but we're still flat on our moving averages here, so, and they're kind of collapsing in on it too. So if we can get that collapsing, just get a little bit above it, maybe we'll get some little springboard action off our moving averages and bounce higher. But currently Chipotle is still a buy the dip, but I would buy small amounts at a time, because if we do get it close below this 55-65 area, most likely we're going to continue to head to a lower number down around here somewhere. All right, so that's all I got this morning. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much and keep you looking at this when the market's going to be open here in a minute. I guess I better do this one too, huh? Tesla continues to pull back. It's got a window open down here at 255, and then another window down here even lower than that, so around $200. So Tesla continues to show some weakness, ran into some resistance, tried to come back up, but we got our moving averages coming over acting as resistance. So Tesla put in a pointer in the pre-market to about $3.45, which will put it down around here somewhere. All right, so we'll have to see what happens on Tesla when it opens. But right now, Tesla is still showing some weakness, and it looks like a sell. So, but we're still bullish in the market, but it still looks like a continue to sell. Maybe come down into here to shut this window, or both these windows are around $208, which will put us below our moving averages. So I don't know if we're going to come this far back, but definitely looks like we may. I don't want to say definitely either. Looks like we may come back into this area here at 277 and find some support, or at least retest for support before trying to go back higher. All right, that's all I got for Tesla, and that's all I'm going to do for right now. And I'll put out another little something after hours this evening. All right, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and have a happy day of trading. And be careful out there. These markets are crazy.